Just got done with my Darkside tire conversion. If you look down here, we've got a new passenger tire on the Goldwing. Just took it out for a spin, able to drag boards on just some slaloms and some figure eights. So happy with the ability to still get turning side to side, rolling it. And we'll give a long-term review later on, but go ahead and check out my YouTube video on swapping out the motorcycle tire for the Darkside passenger tire. Today I'm going to uncover the dark side of my 2001 Goldwing. What is the dark side? It is mounting a car tire on a motorcycle rim, specifically the rear wheel. I've done a lot of research on dark siding, a lot of debates online whether it's safe, there's liability, and there's a lot of pros and cons on both sides of the aisle arguing for and against it. Not a lot of data out there, but there have been a lot of users that have it and have never had a problem. Some of the differences in the motorcycle rim and the car rim is the bead seat. The profile of where the tire mounts on the rim is a little bit different. A motorcycle tire has that concave arch all the way around, where a car tire is relatively flat across the top now. Some of the concerns with going dark side on a motorcycle is the difference in the tread shape. So when cornering, you have that rounded edge on the motorcycle that's an even, smooth transition from center to side. However, on the car tire, you've got a flat profile on the tread surface that's in contact with the ground, and so some concerns are that as you're cornering, you're losing contact pattern. There's some videos out there on YouTube that show a camera mounted behind the rear tire, and so you can see the profile as it's driving. There are some people that say there's some differences in how it handles as far as the motorcycle staying more upright and wanting to stay upright, but I haven't had my own experience, and so I'm going to look and see how that goes as I transition over to the dark side. So a lot of dark side riders utilize a run flat rim, which is a very thick sidewall tire, so that if you do lose air pressure, even if you drill a hole in the side of the rim, it'll still maintain its profile and allow you to continue to drive for a period of time and get off of the roadway. I've chosen not to use a run flat tire. I haven't had any flats. My motorcycle tire on my rear Goldwing needs to be replaced. It's been worn out. I'm going to go ahead and mount up this car tire on the Goldwing rim. The tire I've chosen to run is an Integra 195/55 R16. You can see the tire has got a solid center rib, and it's got equal tread patterns on each side, and so it doesn't have one that's a directional or it varies from the inside to the outside of the tire. So that's one of the things I was looking for, is symmetry in the tread pattern. For car tires, the price difference is also a choice that a lot of people make to run dark side. Typical motorcycle rear tire for my Goldwing, I've paid anywhere from $180 to $220 for a motorcycle. Get a motorcycle tire only lasting anywhere from 4,000 to 7,000 miles, depending upon your riding style, weight, and different compounds of the tread, the rubber. This car tire that I got, with tax, shipping, and everything else, was only $66. The same car tires, a lot of people are reporting upwards of 20, 30, sometimes 40,000 miles on a car tire. If you look at the cost savings of replacing a motorcycle tire more frequently, the cost savings are significant. What we need to do is go ahead and take off the rear cover and remove the rear rim off the Goldwing, and that way we can dismount that tire off of it and mount up the new Darkside tire. Let's go ahead and get started. To remove the rear cover, there's 4 bolts up here. And remove the license plate, another bolt behind. Oops, there we go, just clips. set of 4 on the outsides and then 1 on the center. Next I need to get my wrench down and take off the lug nuts. 3/4 socket. Gonna need a breaker. There we go. Just took a little bit of muscle. We'll show you when we get this tire off just how bad it was. That's my fault for not properly watching the maintenance. Last lug nut is off. Now it's working the tire out. Now the crossbar. And here we go. So as you can see, very bad wear on this tire. Let it go way too long. Just not washing it close enough. So very lucky that I didn't have a blowout on this. I'll have to check to see how many miles I have on this tire. But we're ready for a new one for sure. Let's go ahead. We'll pull the valve stem. We'll let all the air out. We'll compress this, break the bead, and get this tire off. Valve stem out. This tire measurements are a 180/65. So the tire that I have is 15 millimeters wider. So overall, the dimensions are very, very similar. Go ahead and take these weights off too. I may have to use a heat gun to loosen up the... Oh, there we go. There's the weights off of it. What I'll be using is balancing beads when I remove this and put the other car tire on. Okay, this will be the hard part. It's getting this bead dismounted from the rim. To keep this from moving all over the place, I'm going to strap it down to my bench. Get some of my protectors on there. Our bead compressor. This is always the hardest part. Having something to pop that bead off. A little bit more soapy water in there. There are specific bead breakers. It's just something I haven't invested in yet. There we go. There it is. All right. Hear that sound, have it release all the way around. There we go. Now the other side. Now we have to get this bead up and over this side. This side of the bead needs to be down to give it some room to stretch.
I'll give it a little bit of lubricant. It's always hard, just one person, where it's already starting to flip over the bead right here, so get a little bit closer. There we go. Now it's starting to fold over. Right, there we go. Just have to get that lip underneath. There we go. Now it's pulling off. And let's just catch that lip. There we are. And almost off. There we go. Now, same for the other side. Flipped it over. And get a lubricant. And now, working this speed around. Key on these spoons, see how there's a little bit of a lip. You want to get that lip angled the right direction so it catches it and pulls against it. Promise you it works. Okay, now this edge is starting to come up over, so just need to keep working that around. Trying to get too big of a grab, so I'm trying to get the spoon a little bit closer. There we go. There we go. There we go, tire is off. Probably as much as I do this with the truck tires and the motorcycle tires, I should probably invest in a better bead breaker. Let's grab our wheel, get ready. Goldwing rim mounts from the underside here, so the rotation is a counterclockwise. This tire itself has a rotation, and so we want to make sure that we line up those rotations to be the same. So again, rotating in a counterclockwise position. So we'll go ahead and soap up this bead, get it slippery, and then get that rim mounted up. Again, using the lip of the spoon, it's arched this way, to grab the tire bead and pull it around the edge. As we're pulling this lip over, we want to make sure that this other side is in the center valley of the rim to give it the furthest point in, so that way it has less to stretch out, because there is a steel cord in that outer bead. Almost there. I'm going to use this one to hold it down to be able to get this spoon in. Almost. There we go. Front side on. Making sure rotation this direction. Good there. Okay, now again for this one I need to get this down inside the valley before I start pulling over the other side. Let's go ahead and do a rim protector on this. Probably should buy some more of these rim protectors. What I need is something to hold these down. While I do it. Okay, again, I'm going to need to try and keep this side in the valley. There we go. Keep that bead down. And start working it around. This bead needs to stay down. Otherwise I'll be trying to stretch it too far. Probably wondering, why in the world would I want to do this myself? It looks like it's hard work. It is. But I get satisfaction from doing things myself. Keep working it around. Probably need to clamp this tire down again. The rim. Just so it'll stop lifting up on me. And I won't be able to get another rim protector in there, so there we go. And probably one more. There we go. That's it. Hear that pop. Giving it a go. So, put the valve stem back in. Let's go ahead and get the compressor turned on. Get this thing pumped up. Let's pop this bead on. Getting ready to go. Hear it. Getting close. Almost there. Watch me flinch. That wasn't too bad. Here he goes. Check the back side. Everything looks good there. Don't need to worry about pressure right now because I'm going to use balancing beads in this. Let me explain the balancing beads. Traditionally, you'll put the wheel on a machine, spin balance it. But we had taken off just these sticky weights. What I didn't do is I didn't line up the dot with the stem. What I should have done is I should have rotated the rim with the wheel to get the light spot of the tire lined up with the valve stem. I'm trying to decide if I want to do that or not. Give me a minute to think on that. Alright, I've decided to take the tire back off the bead and rotate the tire on the rim. I'm using my tire spoons for my truck tire, make it a little bit easier. Maybe I should have used them for the other one. Hard part's going to be I can't still rotating the tire with the rim, but we'll get there. Alright, almost off. Probably going to get some lubricant in here to be able to spin it and get that lined up. So the white dot, red dot, and my valve stem. I'm just going to verify that this manufacturer, which dot is the light spot and heavy spot. So my error, I was used to the dots being the light side of the tire. Just verified the white dot is the low point of the tire being out of round, and the red dot is the high point of the tire being out of round. So if you have a rim that isn't perfectly round and you spin it and you know where that high point is and low point is, you can adjust the tire to match that. I'm not going to worry about that because I don't have anything that's going to tell me if this wheel is perfectly round or not to the line those up. So I'm just going to go ahead, put the valve stem back in, air it up, get those beads seated again, and then we'll put our balancing beads in. Balancing beads can be a couple of different materials. They're either going to be some type of a glass hardened so they don't break up, or a ceramic. There's also some powders out there that all of these are going to have some type of inhibitor or a material to keep it from clogging up with moisture. Just the air that you put into your tires when it's compressed, heat, moisture is created, and so they don't want that to clump up. So the idea is these beads, when they go in here, they'll rotate around freely within the tire. So when the tire's at a standstill, they'll be all settled down at the bottom. As the tire begins to rotate and roll around, those beads will start just like you have the example of water in a pail. And if you tip it, it'll pour out. But if you swing it by the handle, that centrifugal force will keep that water in the bucket as it turns around. Well, the bucket is just one point that would move around. Having the tire completely open with those beads to freely rotate all the way around allows those beads to then separate and find equilibrium around themselves in the tire as the tire speeds up. So at low speeds, there's no benefit in balancing because those are all just resting down at the bottom and they're starting to gain traction. As the speeds increase, those beads are then pushed to the outside and they stay on the outside as the tire rolls, and then because of the way that the balancing is, those beads will self-balance and find their equilibrium. There's a bunch of different videos you can see online of how that works. Centromatics one, equal balancing, and a bunch of different other ones. Ones I have are pretty much a clear bead, and you can use calculators online to figure out how much weight of beads to put in. Calculator for this tire size is 3 ounces. And so I'm going to go ahead and measure out 3 ounces of this. We'll put it into that valve stem after we get that tire bead mounted back up. It's seated. So now I'll remove that core again so that way we can put in our beads. Let's go ahead. I'm going to go inside, weigh 3 ounces of this out, and then we'll come back with our tube and install tool. So we've zeroed out our scale with our container on it. Again, there we go. I'm going to go 3 ounces. .7, 2.8, 2.9, 3. Oh, 3.1. Oh, let's take some of that away. 3. All right. These are our balancing beads. We're now at the stage to fill our tire with our balancing beads. Just these little tiny beads right here. Let's see if we can get a closer look at what they are. Transfer these into our little tube. Use our funnel. Got to measure it out. Now we can go ahead and, as you can see, it doesn't go in there very easy on its own. So you can use just a tool you may find in the closet. Just work those beads down into the tube. So I learned this trick with from Brown's Tires, a motorcycle gentleman up in Crescent City, Northern California. However, for that application, it was required because it was a tube tire for a motorcycle. However, just the time that it's taken to get this in there, I just broke the bead. Put our valve stem back in. A little bit of a leak. Oh, still a little bit. Might have some debris still in the stem. Did you know how to read a DOT number on the tire? The DOT will have a 4-digit sequence to let you know when the tire was manufactured. They do a little bit different than just putting the date on the tire. The first 2 digits are the week of the year, and the last 2 digits are going to be the year itself. So for this tire, it has a 0324 as its manufacturing number. The 24 at the end indicates that it was made in 2024. The first 2 numbers, 03, indicate that it was made the 3rd week of 2024. So this tire is made, what would it be, like 21st-ish of January. And we're in November now, and so it's about 11 months old. Interesting little fact. Now the tricky part is finagling it in, getting it back on. Lug nuts at 80 foot-pounds torque. Now for a torque adapter, already set my torque adapter to 80 foot-pounds. Turn it on so you can hear the beat. I may have to set it down on the ground off the center stand. We'll get it. Last one. All right. I'll torque down to 80 foot-pounds. Just need to put the air pressure back up to 40 pounds into my rear panel. For those wondering about clearances on the 15 millimeters wider tire, you can see that when I was putting it in, there really wasn't a lot of extra effort or strain or pressing. There have been some reports of people putting them on a Goldwing that the width of the tire made it really hard to get in. But as you can see, mine went in very easily. Again, it's a 190 by 55. And it's not a run flat. Let's go ahead and show you those clearances from this perspective before we put the fender back on. So here we are. You can see up. Let's see if we can get a good look at the clearances. I would guess maybe like a 3/4 inch clearance on the sides, but plenty of room. And there we have it installed. And go ahead and put this rear cover back on, and then get the air pressure back on. After that, we'll go for a test drive. Still got a leaky valve stem. I have to change the interset. Pulled the old valve stem out. I'm going to put a new one in. Yeah, that sounds good. More air pressure in it. I don't hear anything, so we might have just had a damaged seal on this valve core. Pressure's up. Put the cap on. Now we're down over for the test drive. There we go. We're going to go test it out. Well, so far it feels like a tire. There is a little bit of difference in straight line. Well, it's pretty good lean. You can feel how it wants to stay straight. There is a little bit different of a feel. But I'm still carving pretty good. Even dragging a peg right there. Alright, if you could hear that, dragging a peg around the corner. It lets you roll it. It really does want to stand up when you're braking straight line. Let's do a couple of figure eights. I don't know if you can hear that. I think Twisties is okay. Well, I guess there you have it. Feels pretty good.
think I'll be happy with it. Well, now we're complete with our Darkside conversion on my 2001 Goldwing. We've traded out the motorcycle tire for a passenger car tire, a 190 55 R16, and it's got a symmetrical tread pattern with a center wear rib, and took it out for a spin, able to drag the floorboards on both sides, figure eights. Now, I won't say that there's no difference in the feel. There is a little bit of difference in the desire for the vehicle to stay upright, straight, and so as you just do slight turns, you can feel its desire to stay straight line, but it's not something that isn't easily overcompensated by just a little bit of a lean and some turn of the wheel. So easily able to just roll side to side while you're going down the road, as well as I guess did the figure eights and everything else. Straight line braking, it really wants to stand up straight, so I like that. And definitely the length of wear, well, 20, even if I get 20,000 miles out of this one versus 4 or 5 out of the other ones, it costs $68 versus 100. I think 160 or 180 was the last tire that I purchased for the rear. So happy with it so far, and we'll look up doing a review later down the road. Take care.